Hello and welcome to Chattercade Podcast, where we walk you through scene by scene of a movie and give our opinion on the scene and the movie in general. I'm your host, Strand King Thomas Hughes.
Hi, I'm Hayden, and I'm not the dumbest one here for once. Guess who's back from cryogenic freezing?
No, it's not Michael Bublé.
Hello.
It's James.
It's November. You're now allowed to break me out.
Yeah, but
Yay.
you're not meant to nut. I've already brought that.
And also, just don't sing Mariah Carey, please. Please. I'm
Oh,
already haunted. I'm already haunted by it. Please. No.
what is it that you really want for Christmas?
For it to stop.
Oh, James, we have to bring you back at some point. It's been about, what, just under 2 months-ish? Just under?
Not long enough.
Yeah, not long enough. So we thought we'd drag you out because,
Yep.
today we're discussing the Assassin's Creed movie, James.
Oh yeah.
The film that we all went to see in cinema, all three of us.
Well, technically, we class it as we don't go with James because it was too embarrassing to walk around with.
Yeah. I may have jotted that down later on in my notes.
Yeah.
That may be part of my way of getting my overall score for it.
So,
Just say James is a hindrance to this film.
for the benefit of the audience, I wore a tricorn to the showing of Assassin's Creed. And by wore, I mean I had to carry it because I wasn't allowed to wear it outdoors.
It's like he walked up to us and went, "Happy New Year!"
Like, hey, look, I got a tricol. Can we go to watch Assassin's Creed? It's totally about pirates. Because all I can think is Black Flag, and that's it.
Fuck's sake!
Yeah, I thought it was a very thematic hat, but then watching the film, I thought,
No,
this was a mistake.
Yeah, because it's set in Spain. Oh God,
Yeah.
James,
Hmm.
you make us laugh sometimes in a good way.
You make us cry.
So yeah,
You make us want to die.
the Assassin's Creed
That's
movie was released in 2016, but for only a certain amount of countries.
Yeah.
But other countries like us in the UK, we had to wait till January 1st, 2017. So we had I think it was like just after Christmas or just before Christmas came out in like the US and like loads of other countries.
21st of December, yeah.
And then over here and a lot of other places it was January 1st, but we didn't get to see it till January 2nd. Day after.
I found a list. Let's see. Yeah, no, literally January 1st.
Yeah, but obviously we saw it the 2nd, we saw it a day later.
Oh, wow.
So, the movie is, of course, based on the Ubisoft video game series Assassin's Creed.
no shit.
Probably my most favourite video game recurring series because it's amazing. It was directed by Justin Kurzel, who directed Snowtown.
Are you including Unity in that?
That wasn't that bad. I didn't mind it.
Really?
I didn't mind Unity. I thought Unity was fun.
I mean, Unity, it looked like it was actually made on the Unity engine. It was that bad.
That is quite the insult.
It wasn't that glitchy for me. It looked fine. It was fine as any other games have been. I haven't really. You have the occasional glitch in most games. That was
As
fine.
you were, Thomas.
But yeah, so as I say, it was directed by Justin Kurzel, who directed Snowtown, True History of the Kelly Gang, and Macbeth, which starred the lead of this movie, Michael Fassbender, who of course he played Macbeth in that film. Just saying. He of course is obviously known for the 4 entries in the X-Men prequel franchise: First Class, Days of Futures Past, Apocalypse, and Dark Phoenix. He also starred in 2 entries in the Alien universe: Prometheus and Alien Covenant.
Yep.
He was also in Fable 3 as a character called Logan.
That's very true.
The irony for the fact that obviously he was an X-Men, Logan. Ha 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 ha. Funny jokes.
There's loads of like British people.
Yeah, the movie also stars Marianne Cotillard from Inception. Also Macbeth. He played Lady Macbeth in that. The Dark Knight Rises. And a load of French films that I've never even heard of or seen. Just saying.
Slacking.
The movie also stars the great Jeremy Irons from the original Lion King.
Yep. And also he's Alfred in Batman.
Batman vs Superman.
And as I say, Alfred killed Mufasa.
He was also in the Watchmen TV series.
Mm-hmm.
Eragon. And just for
Yeah.
you, James, the Dungeons and Dragons movie they did in like the 90s
Oh yeah.
or early 2000s, I can't remember off the top of my noggin. He was in there. I'm pretty sure he was the bad guy. We also have some small but major roles for Brendan Gleeson, the star of Lake Placid, Paddington 2, and Edge of Tomorrow, as well as Michael Kenneth Williams from The Purge Anarchy, 12 Years a Slave, RoboCop, another fucking RoboCop start, Battlefield 4, and most recently the HBO series Lovecraft Country, which I need to catch up on. The movie focuses on Callum Lynch, who is forced to relive the memories of his ancestor, the assassin Aguilar Denar, by the Abstergo Foundation, who want to find the Apple of Eden, which will help them,
that name.
control the world. What name?
Is the Spanish name?
Oh
I
no,
completely forget that.
I just remember it's Aguilar. It's close to Altair, so I remember that. I don't remember the last bit. The last bit's gone after this. I don't remember that bit. Stretch.
I'll just say Spanish Michael.
Spanish Michael. Let's get straight into the thick of this. So the movie opens out my arm with the
Really?
with the moving text Star Wars style, telling the
text.
story.
I put in a galaxy far, far away.
It obviously tells us the story of the Brotherhood, also known as the Assassins. Before we cut to a desert and into a temple-looking building, where a hooded man watches other hooded people make a blade. I don't know why I started singing that. I got Tobuscus on my mind when I started singing that. We then cut to our main character in this timeline, Aguilar, played by Michael Fassbender, as he walks down the steps, listening to another man talk about the Brotherhood, in Spanish, of course, so you got subtitles on. And, talks about the Brotherhood stand for and whatnot. He then refers to the Apple of Eden before slicing Michael Fassbender's finger off.
Honestly, anything from the new iPhone.
Literally, I forgot that obviously that was a thing with the whole finger. Because when I got the Funko Pop, which I'll show on camera, people watching it versus camera, on the Funko, the one hand's obviously missing a finger, and I thought it was broken. I was like, oh shit, it's broke. But obviously it's not, because he actually has his finger sliced off. But
I didn't realise that.
But yeah, so obviously he slices his finger off, and
also, you say anything for the new iPhone. No, they cost fingers way back. They cost 2 arms and 2 legs these days.
You don't even get the charger with it.
Exactly.
No.
That's a penis cut off.
That cost you an eye.
So you'll be alright, Hayden.
And you don't get the eye patch.
You can sell yours afterwards for the charger.
The Apple eye patch.
A female assassin by the name of Maria then tells him what he must remember while putting his blades on his arms. He then says the catchphrase of "We work in the dark to serve the light. We are assassins," but obviously he says it in Spanish. So he's like, "Assassinos." Before he obviously pans upwards, and we get the title, and some kick-ass music starts playing as an eagle flies, because you got to plug the eagle flying.
Obviously,
it flies across mountains, loads of mountains. What is this? The Shining? Yes, it is. It flies until you get the title card of Mexico in 1986, where a young hooded boy begins to try to do some stunts on his bike. But, well...
He said a bad word.
What?
After he fails the stunt, he says poop.
What?
That bastard.
But the
Bastardo!
of it,
That's Italian.
he literally says shit.
So what? I say shit all the time. I just said shit then. Shit.
But he's like
How dare you, Tom?
He's like a child. He should be out doing stunts on his bike and then saying a bad word.
Well, James, if you look at the Blu-ray case right here, it says 12, so it's fine. You can say swear words.
But no fucking swearing in this podcast.
Yeah, James, fucking shut the fuck up.
The point stands that a child that young should not know that word.
Okay, James, go back to Crow Sleep now.
Okay.
Obviously, as I say, he isn't the best at his stunt, and just slams straight into the side of this is it like a crate, isn't it? Like a cargo crate. No, it was a cargo what they have on cargo ships.
Storage container?
Yeah, one of those.
He does the stunt from the building.
Yeah, and then he says shit, as you say, James. He then rides back home. But, when he heads inside, he sees his lifeless mum just chilling in a chair, jamming to some tunes. But
as you do.
I feel that on like another level. I do.
But when he sees the blood sitting below her in a nice little pool, he realises she's dead. And then he turns to see his dad muttering, obviously, some foreign words with his hidden blade on his arm. He's not Irish at this point.
He is.
Just because Brendan Gleeson's Irish.
No, he says it. He speaks Irish.
He's
Like,
actually-
not Irish. Like, he actually says it in an Irish accent to him. Ron. Like, Ron, son. Okay. No.
Anything to get
Your blood's not your own.
anything to get Brendan Gleeson speaking his natural tongue. He says his blood's not his own and that someone's found them. He then slowly approaches Callum, who backs up before being told to run, as you say, the Irish tongue. And cars arrive outside. Callum, makes it to the roof and runs across. Soldiers arrive and hold his dad at gunpoint. While a mysterious-looking Jeremy Irons character chills on the car watching. It's definitely not Jeremy Irons.
I thought to myself, when he was at the point where he was no longer on the roofs and running off, I thought, why didn't he just take the bike? It would have been faster. But it makes sense because I'd already forgotten, 10 seconds after it happened, that he'd been running along the roofs.
Yeah.
Also, because James were dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
James, go back to sleep. We then.
Do you need to get the chloroform out? I'll give it a good sniff.
I'll chloroform you in a minute.
Hey.
I'll make sure it's strong enough to knock you out fully.
Yeah. Make sure it's shaken, not stirred.
I'll make. R.I.P.
Mm.
Sorry. So.
We've dated this.
I forgot that.
Cut 30 years later to a prison in Texas where an older Callum Lynch, also played by Michael Fassbender. There's some very dark artworks.
Every time Callum comes up, do you have to say that it's played by Michael Fassbender?
Yes.
Did you know Callum is played by Michael
Yes.
Fassbender? I didn't know that. If
What
only,
about
like, you told
what
me.
about Aguario?
Yes. If you don't get that Rick and Morty joke, you're a loser.
Says Tom.
Yes.
Anyway, it's a priest arrives. Gives him a little talk about, it's your birthday, happy birthday. You're going to die soon.
Yay!
He then reads to him from the Bible, but Callum pretty much ignores it. Religious mumbo jumbo. Before we.
I really vibe with the fact that he's just looking around the room, just like, oh God, not this. Just not paying it any heed.
We then cut to guards taking him away and strapping him into a chair and putting a lovely needle in his arm. And he asked him his final word. He tells him to tell his dad he'll see him in hell. And as the clock hits 6, the chair goes back and drugs begin to bump into his body, while a strange woman watches from the shadows. Spooky. The drugs then enter his system and begins to see flashes, memory, mind fuckery. And then, he suddenly wakes up with a strange woman watching him. He tends to touch her face because that's what you do when you see a stranger. Touchy. She tells him...
That's not going to get you a lawsuit.
She tells him her name is Sophia Riken, played by Marion Cotillard. She tells him he's technically dead as far as everyone else is concerned. He tries to get up, but she tells him to stay put because, he's technically just died and he's come back to life, whatnot. He doesn't listen to her, falls over and then starts to crawl away because, his legs are dead still. He eventually gets to his feet and has a weird slow-mo head-dying moment while he runs.
Mm.
All the way
As
to
he's being followed around.
It's
by
kind of
the-
funny, yeah, because she only said it to just the two people that was next to her, but everyone else in the building just yeah, we'll let him go past.
Well, the
Not
one
gonna
guy,
stop him at all.
the one guy tries to go near him, and then she's like, "Don't touch him."
I mean, it's everyone else though.
Yeah, everyone
I
else
mean,
is just like, "Oh, there's a guy that's technically dead, just running around the facility. No biggie, no biggie at all." Nah. And obviously, he makes it to a sort of garden-looking room. Yeah, he starts walking towards the edge. You got a guy staring at him. Wonder who that is.
Yeah, the fact that they let him climb up onto
An edge.
an open ledge.
The bit where they got open ledges. Anyone could just jump off.
I would.
Oh, you did say that during it.
Especially in a facility full of assassinos who leap of faith for a living.
Exactly. Well, to be
Yeah.
fair, they're probably done. They probably made sure there's no baler hay below. That baler hay, the fucks.
That's in the rule. No bale of hay is allowed within like any form of mileage within
I was
range
gonna say,
of the facility.
that's one thing you never really saw in this film was one of them landing a bale of hay. You saw a dead body land on a bale of hay, but you never saw one of them really landing one.
Yeah, it would have been like the extra bit.
Yeah.
Like, if they're obviously when they do the leap of faith later on in the film, like if they never actually did the eagle sound, I would have been so pissed off.
But they always did the eagle sound in this film. That's what I like about it.
Yeah.
Every single time they leap, the eagle sound happens.
Mm-hmm.
Even when it's not seen on screen, the leap, you still hear the
Or
eagle
even
sound.
when it's a fail.
Yeah, that too. Which many times does happen because, clicking A and jumping in Assassin's Creed never works properly.
It's because you shit at the game, Tom. You shit at the game.
No, it's just the game.
No. He is telling the truth. You press A, and there's a clear ledge in front of you, but the guy decides, you see that ledge right behind me that I can't reach? I'm jumping to that. It's like when Spotify tries to recommend you music. It's like, I've got you, but it never does.
Yeah, it's like, no, I don't want to listen to fucking Kanye West. I want to listen to 1700 sea shanties.
Exactly.
Yar, har, yar, har, yar,
It's like,
har,
yes,
yar,
you want to
har.
listen to My Mine. You want to listen to a child scream into a microphone for 6 minutes? No, I do not,
yeah,
Spotify.
I do.
I was just listening to Bass Hunter. Why would I want to listen to My Mine?
It's a good one, all right?
James, can you stop listening to this child screaming, please? People are going to start getting suspicious.
Listening to child screams, Kevin Spacey references. I think it's a foregone conclusion at this point.
Yes, he made it. He may have not made one during Detective Pikachu, but he's made one here.
I thought I'd give it a break.
Anyway, so as he's looking over the edge, obviously,
I had to lay low.
and a prisoner approaches, and he's like, "Go on, jump, do it." And Sophia arrives, and she's like, "Yeah, in the Abstergo facility in Madrid." And you're not a prisoner, Cal, but you are a prisoner. Yeah,
You're not a prisoner, but you're a prisoner, and Tony should be worried that we said Abstergo, because Tony, no one here has played the games, and no one knows like what Abstergo is, and that the fact that they're all Templars and they're the bad guys. No one knows that yet.
Shh! Don't spoil it. You're too far.
Big warning signs where it's like, yeah, you were sentenced to death. You're dead, as far as anybody knows. Welcome to this facility. This is my organization. That screams bad guys.
Yeah, and especially when you use Scar,
Exactly.
the ultimate bad guy.
And technically, there's the sort of bad guy in Inception, because she was kind of a bad guy in that.
Yeah.
She was obviously DiCaprio's wife in that, and she was sort of bad in it.
And Alfred was just evil.
Exactly. That trolling.
Pure evil.
And he's like, "Oh, do you want me to drop you off on the second floor then?" He's just trolling him.
He's so harsh as hell. Honestly,
Yeah,
I bet you he's the one that killed Robin. It wasn't Joker, it was him.
Back to this movie though, Hayden.
Okay.
Batman belongs to Alfred and only Alfred.
James, I said back to this movie. We're getting back to this movie.
Yeah, right, sorry.
As he approaches, he gets shot in the neck by some more lovely drugs. Drugs.
Great. Don't stay in school, do drugs.
She complains about them interfering with her work before she tells them to prepare the Animus. They then pretty much just drag him into a very cool looking machine, strap him in, strap two hidden blades to him, and they start the machine up. We get some cool visuals with some very
it's as
cool
you said.
looking lights.
I feel like this was the correct way to go with the Animus for film purpose.
Yeah, instead of
it
just lying
could have
down.
just been like lie in this pod and then that's that. But the fact that they go with this robot arm machine it really ties in later to how they can do the cutting shots between modern day and the past.
Yes.
Because, he's actively doing the movements.
And it also makes sense about how he's able to recreate those moves. Because if you're just lying down, you think, how the fuck can you still do all that?
He's just lying there.
Because he's actually doing the movement. It's become muscle memory. I like that. Also, like you said, the cutting between the reality and the Animus is really fucking good.
But it's also the fact that Abstergo is basically teaching the modern versions of people whose ancestors are assassins how to do these moves. So I feel like they're kind of shooting themselves in the foot there.
That's a good point, James.
Oh, sorry, stabbing themselves.
That's a really good point.
I mean, it's like later on, like one of the security guys, like we're basically feeding the beast, like saying we're teaching him how to kill us all, and they were like, "Yeah, it'll be fine."
Yeah, it's not there's going to be a sequel at all. Too soon.
There isn't actually.
Too soon.
Too soon. Okay. But yeah, so obviously he goes up, the lights come on, and get some really cool sound effects, like music in the background, and then they go, "Oh, the DNA's linked up."
Science on the monitors.
Synchronise him, and as it synchronises, his blades pop out, and his mind is then sent back into the past. And we jump to another eagle flying shot as it flies over a very large battle with arrows firing from a castle above. The eagle flies until it passes over a hillside where a group of assassins stand looking over a small town, well, village, more than town, as their mission is a boy, quote unquote. James's mission.
Nothing but the boy.
Oh God, James! No, James! No, shush! No.
Then in the village, an evil man watches on as his minions drag the young prince out of his hiding place because the boy's a prince. And as he's being dragged out, the bloke gets off his horse and he just grabs a woman by the neck for some weird reason and starts yelling at her before a mysterious figure approaches. And
it's like did anybody else know that the boy was being held here? Obviously, that one guy comes out. It's like, no, just me. No one else know. I was, like sole operative. Like nobody else knows I was holding him. The guy literally just turns and goes, "Burn his family and make him watch."
Pretty much. He throws that woman to the side and they drag that guy away. And then
religious relations, aren't they just the best?
And a man drags the prince into like a cage and just locks him in. And this other guy's there ranting and whatnot. And then Aguilar just drops down and air assassinates the leader of this group. And in the present timeline, we see Callum acting like Aguilar, as you said. But obviously, it cuts between that and then back in the, in the past with the assassin, the other assassins begin to take out the village.
Show of how the Animus works with Callum actually, with the help of this massive robot arm.
Yeah, and then obviously we watch the villains get wiped out by the assassins that were slowly approaching during the sequence before Aguilar jumped.
It's been well established by this point that the villains are the Spanish. We are in Andalusian Granada, the last Muslim bastion on the Iberian Peninsula, and this very much is the Spanish invasion.
Because
nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition.
Have you not realised James is such a nerd?
I mean, realise we've done this for years.
Well, I knew he wasn't cool, but I didn't realise he was a nerd as well.
He's not smart. He just searches stuff quickly.
Oh, he's probably got the Google on one screen and there.
When did
his notes in the other.
1492.
He's googling it, isn't he?
Oh God, don't Google, please. You're
back to this movie. I'm getting back into this movie then. Obviously, the assassins are fighting off all these bad guys, but the brute of the bad guys is just beating the crap out of a few assassins, and he watches as I believe it is Maria jumps onto the horse and rides away with the prince. So the bad guy obviously chases off as well on another horse and cart. So Aguilar has to leave his fellow assassins to pretty much die to go save the day. So he chases after the two horses and carts. And on the prince's cart, Maria must fight off all the bad guys that keep jumping on. And Aguilar eventually makes it to the one cart, but so does the brute. So the two begin to have this little fight and whatnot before the whole thing just smashes and Aguilar has to jump to the prince's cart for safety. But it's not over yet. As he has to save the prince from an impending doom. As obviously he cuts Maria off with the horses, so she goes to safety. But his cart with the prince on goes flying off the edge of a cliff, forcing him to use a grapple hook dart thing that's on his wrist to save the day. And then as he does, he's literally dangling over the edge of a cliff, and that's where we leave him because Callum is literally pulled from the memory, leaving Aguilar's fate unknown for the time being. And as I say, literally over a cliff. Sophia then goes to visit her father, Dr. Ryken, who was the man from the Start, played by Jeremy Irons. Of course, obviously. It's Jeremy Irons, best actor in this film. Apart from Michael Fassbender, of course. He talks to her about the apple, obviously, because that's the biggest part of this movie. Because, just like the first game, the biggest plot point is the Apple of Eden, and like most of the games in the series. Well, technically, a lot of the other games just do apple artifacts, not just the Apple of Eden. But we'll move away from those logistics and whatnot. So yeah. He asks obviously why she pulled him from the Animus, and he's like, "Oh, you need to push Callum more." But she's like, "I'm not pushing him because the Animus doesn't work like that." And she then dresses him up because he can't dress himself apparently, and he then leaves to go and report to the quote unquote elders. I wonder who they are.
Totally not Templars.
He then obviously cuts to him speaking with an old friend. That's not a pun on the fact she's old. She is technically an old friend to him.
Yeah, the British.
Yeah, British versus British talk, And
classic.
She tells him that the elders are going to have a meeting next week, which basically them say the Abstergo fucking project is over. It's too expensive to run. It was like what billions, wasn't it? She was saying
it was like 2 or 3 billion a year.
Yeah, and he's like, but we've trapped the apple. We literally know where it is. We're so close. We got Callum literally going there and doing it. She's like, oh. And at the same time, you literally see Callum having some Vietnam-style flashbacks to Aguilar.
Oh yeah, I put his sleep demon as a Spanish assassin.
And obviously, we cut from these Vietnam flashbacks to Sophia, who's watching him on the cameras. But she's the only one. As Callum
he's literally attempting to fight off the ghost of his ancestor.
Well, he sees the 4 guards at first watching, and Aguilar comes from the glass, and as you say, he attacks him before Sophia enters and tells him that the visions are to do with the bleeding effect, where the memory and the real world collide.
So, like any normal person, he chokes her.
Yeah, he's
as I put, a lot of people are watching him just pin her against a wall.
Well, she just say,
I swear I saw in a video like this.
She just tells him to stand back because she's got this.
She's like, don't worry, choke me harder, Daddy.
He obviously has some more vision.
Harder, Daddy.
He has some more vision headaches before Sophia eventually talks him down, and he lets her go. He then says he's hungry. She's like, oh, let's go get some food.
Yeah, this is the whole talk with where she's always like, oh, why the aggression?
Yeah, because obviously there's a whole subplot to aggression in this film. Like trying to control it.
How all the Templar, it's referenced again later in the film, how the Templars see the assassins as just a group of just like aggressive people. They solve everything through aggression, whereas the Templars...
And chaos.
Yeah, chaos and aggression. The Templars use science and diplomacy.
Order.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's the main thing. Templars bring order, whereas assassins bring aggression and chaos.
Yeah.
I was going to say that. Do I get paid every time I say that?
No, you don't get paid. Yeah, you don't get paid. Period.
Damn it.
All your pay money gets to me because I need money.
Yeah, and
I was wondering why our bank account's at 0.
He's the who keeps mentioning, I'm hungry.
See,
they go from the cell to
she doesn't even take him for food. She takes him to do work.
Yeah, because she takes him to that lab area where you see all the scientists. They've got their who's the murderer newspaper clippings on the wall with all the arrows pointing to everything.
Yeah,
not old-fashioned grenades behind her.
Yeah, all of the all the biblical stuff, all the Bible references, linking to the priest at the very start of the film. How a priest goes to see Callum as he's being sentenced to death. All very very biblical subjects.
Yeah.
Ooh, Apple of Eden.
Ooh. Obviously, in the process, we get Callum's backstory for why he was in prison because he murdered a pimp. Which is never explained why he murdered a pimp. It just says he murdered a pimp.
That's all.
Gator told him that his.
It's just weird that he obviously never develops into a plot of why did he murder the pimp? Oh, he was beating someone up or something. He just goes, nah, murder the pimp.
His girlfriend or something. Or
he literally just says it out loud. I killed a pimp and just walks off.
That was it.
You murdered someone. He's just he was a pimp. It's yeah, it's fine.
Will you explain that? No, I'm hungry.
Yeah, well, obviously before that we get Sophia's backstory where her mother was killed by an assassin.
Yeah.
And
We get a backstory for her. We don't get a backstory for him other than kill the pimp.
and obviously she speaks to him more and tries to teach him more about obviously the assassin's mythology, which of course, as you say, leads to the Apple of Eden. She, as you say, talks about control of anger and whatnot before she actually does take Callum for lunch. But,
Yeah, and she turns it on him. It's like as I think it's like as he's starting to ask questions, she goes, "You're hungry,"
yeah,
rather than just the entire time that she's been asking questions and he's gone, "I'm hungry."
pretty much.
Ironically, yeah.
Yeah.
She goes
it's
like.
always that good, like it's that balance of power kind of thing. Just like you know, I'm the one asking the questions. I'm like, oh, I'm not going to answer you. It's like, okay, then well, I'll just use that against you later.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Quite cleverly done, and it's got a very these aren't the droids you're looking for vibe. You're hungry. I'm hungry.
I think you're right. These aren't the droids I'm looking for.
But yeah,
you can carry on.
While he's heading off into the lunch room area place thing, he's being watched by it's more like, it's not really a cafeteria. They're playing basketball in there. How the fuck is that cafeteria?
It's a recreational area.
Yeah, that'd be more like what it would be, more of a recreational area.
Yeah.
But obviously he's being watched by the other assassins in there, and one sort of badmouths Callum, so saying, "Oh, we should get rid of him and whatnot." And you've got one which is Baptiste.
I mean, it's only being implied at this point, isn't it, that everyone else here is
assassins.
It's also until what's his name, Musa, literally like says like, "Oh yeah, like voodoo, my ancestor was like a voodoo poisoner kind of thing."
Well, she technically in that speech earlier on, when she's in that room showing him all these stuff, she technically does refer to all the others as murderers and what, which is pretty much assassins, because she refers to murderers as assassins. So, you know. But yeah, Baptiste is pretty much just like, "Oh, just give him a chance, whatnot." And when Cam sits down, he goes and meets him. He calls himself Baptiste, but his name's also Musa. He's got like multiple fucking names, and he's played by Michael Kenneth Williams, who recommends the chicken. But Callum, he wants a steak.
Oh yeah, when he goes, it's an open menu, but we do recommend the chicken.
He's like, "I'll have the steak. Get this man a steak." Yeah, he has a little chat with Musa, Baptiste, whatever the fuck you want to call him, and he ends up leaving. And Amir comes over and hands him an apple. Little reference here to later on. And after he leaves, another man by the name of Nathan tries to take the apple, and he's like, grabs him obviously by the hand. And he's like, "Oh, you're gonna lead him straight to it." But Cam's like, "No, I'm gonna eat it." Quite a funny joke. And then the steak arrives in like record time.
Well, no, it's
asking him how he wants it done.
Yeah, it's the woman who comes over. Is like, "Oh, it's an open menu, but we do recommend the chicken." Literally, as Musa said it like 5 minutes ago, and he's like, thinks about it. It's like, "Oh, I'll have a steak," and then the woman just goes away, doesn't ask him how he wants it,
and comes back within like a minute with steak.
Yeah, like as you said, that was a fast steak.
I never really noticed before in previous viewings, but obviously when we was watching, I was like, "Wait, that was way too quick for a steak to be cooked." What you do?
I guess
just slab it
raw.
Because I said to you, didn't I? What did they do? Just have it on the back on the fucking grill already. Even though they recommended chicken, well, they got a steak all grilled and ready to go.
Tell you what,
it's a chicken steak.
I want a steak now.
And we're gonna move on.
You're hungry, Hayden.
I am.
Before you can even eat his steak, he gets some more headaches and visions of Aguilar. We then cut to Sophia being told by her dad to put him back in the Animus, but she refuses to risk his life. Before we obviously cut back to Callum in the cell, as he's confronted once again by Aguilar. And the two begin to
as I put, like, why do I hear boss music?
Yeah, the two begin to fight, so we get a Michael Fassbender versus Michael Fassbender fight. Just like Alien Covenant gave us Michael Fassbender kissing Michael Fassbender, because that's something we need to see.
Obviously, yeah.
So, I know it probably doesn't work out this way, but it was Michael Fassbender has a fight with himself, and then in Alien he kisses and makes it. Or which film came first?
This film came before Alien Covenant.
So yeah, he has a fight with himself in this film, and then later in Alien Covenant, he kisses and makes up with himself.
I'm just gonna say
that is my Michael Fassbender headcanon.
I just want to state the Alien Covenant one is it's just weird because they're both robots in that film.
Yeah.
And androids, and it's like, I'll show you how to like play this like weird like recorder that I've made, and he's like teaching him, and next week he just kisses him, and it was like, wait, it's Michael Fassbender kissing Michael Fassbender.
Sometimes the content doesn't always give the plot; it just skips straight to the action.
It's like, he goes, you blow, I'll do the fingering. That is his literal words. Is you basically need to blow this like recorder thing, but he goes, but don't worry, I'll do the fingering for you.
So, as Michael Fassbender's having this fight with himself, the guards start flooding into the cell, and then you get the that one meme video.
Well, first
that guy who's going around slapping everybody.
Yeah, he just beats the crap out of everyone, doesn't he?
Yeah, he absolutely beats up all the guards until more just flooded, and he takes a baton to the face.
Yeah, and he gets dragged out, and then he begins to sing a song about being crazy.
Crazy.
Being dragged all the way to the Animus again.
Patsy Cline? Crazy?
I don't know, I didn't Google it.
I Spotified it.
Of
course you did.
No, we're in sync.
I like how you said that in unison.
It's like unity.
Oh, God.
Oh.
But yeah, they strap him into the Animus as he carries on singing, as you said, Hayden. He does that weird sort of vocal effect when Sophia's like trying to give him a voice.
Like, he starts singing it because doesn't I always forget the name of the female. Doesn't
Sophia?
she ask him a question like?
No, Sophia's basically like, you need to basically stay in sync or else there's be issues. And
he just turns to her and goes like, "I'm crazy
for loving you."
And he's singing it all the way as he's being taken and being plugged into the Animus.
Yeah, he even sings it when he's being raised up, and he only ends when he says "loving you," and he just gets dropped from a height as the memory fucking floods back into him. And then obviously we cut back into the past as the villains watch over fire with this massive like, audience like was gathered around just watching these stakes on fire.
Oh.
Stakes, the irony. But in the cells, the assassins are chained up and they have a little chin wag. But it's a little too you should kiss moment. He's pretty much cut short and interrupted by the guards that grab the two assassins and drag them out.
The Spanish are just cocklords, man.
I know, yeah.
They then obviously string them up onto these posts in front of all these cheering people, like boo, wah, you know, the usual mob justice sort of situation. And the villains then, they sort of like Pope bald looking motherfucker.
Catholic priest.
Of course, he's like touching kids as well, doesn't he? Yeah, he gives a speech about God and whatnot, and
purging the heretics.
Yeah, and obviously in reality, we see Sophia and her father watching this speech in like holographicness, and obviously we even see Callum.
Yeah, because he says like they quotes like all those who don't believe in me shall be cast into the fire.
Yeah, some along that line.
Yeah, along those lines. The Bible.
Obviously, they're trying to attach like the chains to his legs at the point. I think it was, but he keeps dodging. But eventually, he lodges it in, and he has to watch as the brute just lights his mentor on fire. And obviously, Aguilar's, he breaks out, but he's way too fucking late, and he just watches, and he has to do obviously some tricks to sort of fling himself off and fight. He even almost chokes his friend on the other side. He's like, I like choking in this movie. He has to batter a load of villains before managing to free Maria. And obviously in the present, Sophia points out that Callum is now fully synchronized perfectly with Aguilar. And obviously we cut back and forth between Callum and Aguilar fighting. And
it's the chase scene through the city, which I noted as being the I can't word anymore. Medieval equivalent of a 5-star chase in GTA.
Well, pretty much. And obviously, as you said, they make it to like the building's roof, and they start running while being chased by the soldiers, forcing them to kill a few that keeps
they
jumping.
get to the point where they're in, like they're running through like the hallways, and the big boss Spanish dude.
We still got a bit of a fight to go before that.
Yeah,
Because they jump from building to building, and obviously Maria misses her jump, and Aguilar has to save her. You missed that bit.
Yeah, Maria has to be saved like 6 or 7, just like escort quests, man. Helpless.
The two do then split up, deal with their own bad guy groups, and some incredible fight sequences. This film has got some really good fight sequences. I will give it that.
That's true. It's very choreographed. Pretty good.
And then obviously when they rejoin, they manage to jump into a building, busting a door down Jack Nicholson style.
Oh yeah,
nice little throwback there again. And obviously they then exit and climb back onto the roof, all while menacingly being watched by the brute below. He's staring at them menacingly. Get out of there, Aguilar! And they both then dive up a building. Obviously, Callum, you see him actually jump and throw knives and whatnot at his enemy. You see him obviously doing all this stuff at the same time, which is really cool, cutting backs. And they sort of jump off the building, and he does that weird spin, doesn't he? And he throws the knives at 2 people before landing on some wooden
Also, he
beam.
trick shots bow and arrow at one point where he fires the arrow off the wall.
I think that's a bit further down. I haven't got to that bit yet.
Yeah, you get to hate yourself there, James.
Okay. Just like the fight scene, just keep going.
Yeah, because they have to Tarzan rope it, so Tarzan and Jane swing across into another fucking window, and then they get the bow. You missed the swing before that.
Okay.
You need to get
I
to
only
the point.
skipped one bit, unlike earlier where I tried to skip the entire scene.
But yeah, as you say, then he gets the bow, and you have some really nice POV shots from the bow point of view, and he gets the trick shot, and gets the achievement for doing the trick shot.
This Maria woman being useless
gets grabbed.
Yeah.
And he trick shots to get the platinum achievement. And obviously the two then get into another room, and as you say, then the brute Kool-Aid Man.
As I exclaimed when we were watching the video, just, oh yeah!
And then he grabs Aguilar, but, Aguilar managed to squirm his way out, and the two assassins climb up and up until we see the eagle fly by and watch them to land a leap of faith. But as Aguilar falls, he and Callum desync, and we cut to Callum having a seizure.
Isn't this the time when, much like how when he first arrived in the facility, the guy told him to jump, doesn't the doctor woman, I don't remember names, as he's standing there, it cuts to her when she says jump.
Yeah, she says jump, and then he jumps and obviously desynchronizes. He gets so far down though, then he just desyncs for some weird reason that doesn't make sense, because he was already synced 100%. It never explains why he desynced, but he just did. And obviously then in reality he's having an actual seizure because it's all fucked, and you have to bring him down, hold him together, get the medics, yada yada. Go on, get some medics over here, help him, he's fucking dying.
How do you solve it? I know, let's make him float. Yeah,
they then put him in a nice looking water bath, which James said some weird castrating things and didn't realise what castrating means. Because I was like, oh, that looks kind of relaxing.
I found it interesting that the metal brace that he's in like a cross shape.
Almost like it's symbolism.
Yeah, I picked up on that.
Good job, James.
Only when it's thrown and smudged in my face do I pick up on it.
Round of applause.
Have a job, James. Well done.
And yeah, he's slowly being lowered into the water like he's being baptized. And then I said, in water, nobody can hear you scream.
And then I made the joke of blah, 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 blah,
as he's screaming under the water.
That he pissed himself.
No, don't move the ball.
Obviously he's relaxing, she gives him some speech and whatnot, and then she takes him to another room where she hands him his mom's necklace, and he obviously gets really pissed off that she's got it. She's like, oh, you stole it. And eventually she's like, oh no, we got it from your home 30 years ago because we weren't there to do anything. We were there to save your mom from her own people. And it's kind of just really annoyed.
Didn't she say the death of a parent is something a child should never witness?
Yeah, and obviously Cam just gets annoyed, and he's like, I'm only here to get cured of violence, before he rolls away. No pun intended. Because he literally did roll away. Because he's in a wheelchair at the moment. And obviously he's being watched by Alan. Jeremy Irons. He continues to obviously watch Callum as James says Dragon Ball Z Hadokens it. You know, he's in
Oh
that
yeah,
room.
as he's like doing the little like training montage,
Yeah.
and he Hadoukens.
Then Alan heads in himself, speaks to Callum, where he says his name to him, which is where we learn his name is Alan.
Yeah, where he's like, oh, I'm Dr. Riken.
Alan.
Pause. Alan.
And he's obviously saying that, oh, you need to get back in the Animus, and that.
Yeah, as you said, like the very British stereotypical thing of, yes, I know we kidnapped you, but is there anything we can do for you? Anything you want, something we can give you?
It's
A
pretty
nice
much,
cup of tea.
Not freedom. We can't give you freedom.
it's pretty much
Yeah,
like a we
nice.
help you, you help us kind of situation.
Very British kind of thing.
And he's just like, oh, I'll take you somewhere. And he obviously takes him off to that room where there's like all the desync assassins, obviously all maladated their minds because they're all dead in their brains.
And a couple are in wheelchairs.
Yeah, and he obviously shows Callum his father's blade that he used to kill his mom. And he's like, oh, your dad's here, you know. And he's like, go on, go speak to him. Have this blade. You can kill him if you want.
They empty the room for them. Give them the space, you know.
Yeah, and obviously Callum slowly approaches towards his dad's area with a blade before we cut to Alan being spoken to by Sophia, who's like, okay, why are you doing this? He's like, oh, you wanted him to go involuntarily. This is his way of getting involuntarily. And she's kind of annoyed about this, but she sort of lets it go. Because then we cut to Callum as he meets his dad, Joseph Lynch, played by Brendan Gleeson. The great Irishman. And he was also in a film with Michael Fassbender that's not Assassin's Creed, where they both played Irish characters.
Wait, what?
There's a film, I can't remember what it's called. I think it came out not long after this, actually. And
Wait, who's it I'm looking for?
it's like, they're like robbers or something, but the father and son as well in that, if I remember correctly. And I just found it ironic that they did this together as father and son, and then they both did that as father and son, and in that version they were both Irish.
What's the name of the Irish actor? I was definitely listening.
Brendan Gleeson.
Yeah, there's Brendan Gleeson.
Oh, here we go. We could fucking spend hours.
Yeah,
searching.
while he's doing that, well, me and you are carrying on, Hayden. So,
Okay. Yeah.
Callum holds the blade to his dad's neck. His dad doesn't blink.
Can't think of the name of the film at all.
No, I think it came out around the same time as Assassin's Creed. Just look for the film that's got fucking Michael Fassbender in it as well. But yeah, anyway, so obviously got a blade to his neck. His dad doesn't react, and he's like, "Oh, my actions are literally the fact that I killed her so they couldn't get her. I should have killed you as well, but I couldn't." And Cam just he's like, "Kill me then." He goes to hand in the blade, and his dad's like, "No, I'm not doing it." And he's like, "Oh, don't go back in the Animus because they just want the apple to control free will. That is literally all they want you for." And Cam just takes this to the heart. He's like, "I'm going back in. Fuck you. Fuck the apple. Fuck the assassins." And he's like, "Don't you dare destroy the Creed." And he goes, "I'm going to kill the Creed."
Hey.
He tells his dad that his mom had no choice back then while putting the necklace around his dad's neck. And he's like, "But I have a choice here." And obviously he walks away. James, have you figured it out yet? Before I continue?
No, I'm still looking.
Just
Okay.
continue,
Yeah,
Tom.
we'll continue then. So obviously
Keep going.
he gets escorted by the brute guy, and
That's
he's like,
okay.
"Take me to the Animus," and he starts walking. But actually, he doesn't get. It's the brute in a bit. He gets escorted by a rando that gets murdered by these assassins. Ignore me. That random guy is like, "Take me to the Animus," and he gets killed. He gets instantly killed by a throwing knife. I don't know what. I know she's Asian, but I don't really want to specifically say which one because I don't 100% know. I don't actually 100% know. I didn't look into it, but yeah, she kills one, and then he gets attacked by Nathan, I think it is, who tries to choke him out. But you know, the brute then barges in all the other fucking guards, and they just take Nathan away, even though he's screaming. He's like, "Oh, you're gonna destroy the Creed," and Callum then obviously heads off into the Animus. He starts getting strapped up. The brute comes over with the blade, starts putting them on. He's like, "Oh, do you know what the word assassin means?" And starts talking about them. He's like, "Oh, what do they mean? Is that I admire them because of all this stuff they do." And he's like, "But you're not one of them, are you?" And he's like, "Well, we'll find out." And he heads back into the memory. James, you found it yet?
No, I'm still looking.
And of course, it goes into the Animus, and we see the bird again.
Yeah, another eagle fly. That always symbolises as soon as he gets back into the Animus that the eagle is always there.
What year it was at all?
Around the same time Assassin's Creed.
God's sake.
So maybe around 2016, 2017, something like
Is it before or after Assassin's Creed? Because I was looking before.
that. Fuck this shit, James. Fuck this shit.
Well,
I won't
what-
beat you.
When I've got nothing to go on,
Am I going to beat you to this by just fucking doing it really quick?
probably.
Honestly, you guys. Jesus, might as well just fucking watch Dora the Explorer while we wait for you.
Go on then, go and watch it.
Alright, okay.
Trespass against us.
That might be it. Yeah, Michael Fassbender's on the picture. That's it. Yeah,
Found it.
yeah. I also found it at the same time.
There we go. We're done.
Maybe that's what I had to do, was just start searching it, and James just hurries his ass up. But yeah, back into this, so we know that the film is Trespass Against Us.
Oh, I watched Dora the Explorer.
Oh, too late. Turn it off.
It was a Christmas episode. Oh.
Too late. Turn it off. So obviously the eagle flies through some castle doors and over more soldiers marching, but climbing up a wall is the last two assassins, because literally these are the last two alive. You know, down on the ground floor, the prince is taken back to his father, where they offer him, you know, a safe return of his son, but only if he gives up the apple. So he's like, okay. And obviously this is all being watched by the assassins above. So the man walks off, pulls open a secret war hole, and takes out a box. And his son comes over to him, and then he trades the box to the Catholic priest, bald-looking motherfucker. And inside is the
Obviously
apple.
asking for his son first.
Yeah, I've already said that. His son went back to him.
How about me looking son, you dirty bastard?
He sees the apple, and he starts holding it up to the light. It's like, oh, the apple. And obviously above the Aguilar looks at Maria, and he's like, okay, split. And Maria runs off while he stays above them watching, before he then drops 2 smoke bombs into the room, jumps down, begins to kill some soldiers. Maria then does some cool fight shots, which, you know, is the shots that are in the fucking trailer, was it? The trailer shots?
Yeah.
And she kills 2, and then has to run inside because all the other guards are just running at her. So she locks the door, and then with this smoke all in the room, the 2 can stealthily take out all the men inside. But as Aguilar takes the apple from the villain and holds him hostage, the brute holds Maria hostage and forces Aguilar to free the priest, Catholic motherfucking bald guy. And as he does, the brute murders Maria, forcing Aguilar to throw the man to the ground and attack the brute. In a very hard hitting fight that involves swords, hidden blades, spears, and fists at one point. That brute just goes fully, Mike Tyson on him. And
Apart from the ear biting.
yeah, apart from the ear biting.
There's a lot of switching back and forth in that fight.
There is. There's most fights in this film. There is a lot of back and forths to reality and memory, which is the nice thing with this film.
Yeah.
But specifically in this fight, there's a whole lot of switching.
Yes.
Yes.
The fight goes on for a short while, as you say, with switching back and forth. But Aguilar is knocked down next to his dead love, and with the anger and hatred, obviously because she's pretty much dead, she whispers something to him just as the guy above holds a sword to kill him. But as he does, he utilises her blade, but he's got like a shooty thing on.
Or like crossbow. She says go.
Yeah, and he shoots the brute in the chest, and he's like, oh! And then he gets up.
I kind of... actually, I probably missed it because I was scrolling through Wikipedia. Did you mention how, like, the priest had the woman, Maria, whatever her name was, captive whilst Aguaria held the brute guy, and the priest was all like, "Oh, hand me the apple," obviously saying that he'll free her if she does, and Aguario does actually let the brute go, but that's when the priest just stabs the woman.
Aguario.
Dead.
The priest didn't stab her, the brute stabbed her. Aguilar had the priest, the brute had Maria.
I got it the wrong way around, sorry. Yeah, and then the brute stabs, playing into the whole fact that, how assassins are like, oh, love means nothing, the apple is everything, or something like that.
Yeah, pretty much. But obviously,
Like,
Aguilar's
or
in love here.
love makes us weak, when they were talking about the Sultan. How, he's weak, he'll give the apple up for the boy. One of the assassins, I think, is like, love makes us weak, and he's showing that, I love you, I'll give the priest back to this guy for the apple, and then she's just, the brute doesn't even give him that choice. It's just
Dead.
Is he finished yet?
Yeah.
My Door Explorer is almost done.
I've nearly sat through the entire film.
Obviously, Aguilar then uses his own blade 6 times to kill the brute. But,
yeah, the brute, he was a bullet sponge.
Yeah, it took like 2 final jabs to him to finish him off.
Yeah, like,
Almost like in the game.
there were multiple times where I thought, oh, okay, he stabbed him twice now with hidden blades, he's done. Oh no, he's standing back up and fighting. Okay, this must be his second phase.
Almost like in Assassin's Creed, the brutes are hard to kill.
Unless you use
Have
special
more
skills
health.
and instantly kill.
Dark Souls would like to know your location.
Yeah, obviously the other villain takes this opportunity now that Aguilar's guard's down to open the door to let all the other guards in, but Aguilar opens a sewer exit and just drops down. He then runs through these tunnels. Guards dropping in every now and again. He has to take a few out, do some parkour tricks over a couple, before he eventually opens up a bridge. But on the bridge, he's cornered by guards on both sides and crossbows above, forcing him to do a leap of faith off the bridge. Because the priest is like, "Oh, give me the apple, and it'll be all over." And then he's just like, "Nope." And he jumps off. He's like, "Assassino!" And he just does spinny flips in the air after he got shot. He gets shot in the leg, then does some spinny ass flips before throwing his knife in the water and then dropping in. And then in reality, we see fucking Callum smash his fucking crane arm on him and break it. And he's like, "Ooh." And
Oopsie. Sorry.
Sophia's like looking at him, and the only word she mutters is "leap of faith."
Leap of faith.
It's out of pure shock. And we then she's like, "Oh, where is he now?" And he's like, "Oh, it's a military port." And
oh yeah, because the machinery all disconnects.
Yeah.
But it's still showing like the
Next
projection.
bit of the sequence.
Yeah. Of everything, and how he's talking to
a random guy who we don't know who he is yet.
Yeah.
Until
where are we? They find the location, and they find out that who he was talking to was Christopher Columbus. Which
is due to the fact that he muttered some words, and she's like, "What's that mean?"
Yeah.
And he translates it, and he's like,
because the subtitles just didn't show.
Yeah, that's obviously the reason why. They don't show, because then obviously you might click a bit more of like, oh,
yeah,
it's Christopher Columbus.
Because he's managed to break himself from the machine, like the subtitles aren't showing anymore. And it's like, oh, translate it. She's like, oh, can you translate it? And it's something like leaving this old world behind.
Yeah, something like that. And then she just looks up and goes, Christopher Columbus.
Yeah, obviously.
And she's like, where is he buried? And it's like, oh, it's cathedral. And it's like, they're like, we know where the apple is then. We've tracked it down. We've got it. And,
because he says, take it with you to your grave.
Yeah. And obviously in the normal timeline, we then see all the assassins begin to break out. And they start killing all the guards. Because Baptiste moves, so whatever he fucking wants to be called. He's like, oh, I want to do something. He starts walking up to him, starts doing tricks with his hand, then just kills them both. And,
hey, look at this.
He says something like, you two like over here, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and then he pulls out 2 grenades and just does them in. And we then, after obviously they take out some guys,
you get the brawl of the century, Templars versus Assassins, who will win?
Oh yeah.
Then obviously before that, we cut to Callum as he's confronted by Aguilar in this room. And not just Aguilar, other assassins from his bloodline. Probably one of my favourite sequences, just with, like, you get to see all these other assassins appear, and he's like,
which
ooh.
Was hinting at sequels that never happened.
Yeah, I think one was French. That one that was in the blue outfit, it looked like Arno's outfit.
Yeah, there was one in France. I think there was like a pirate one.
They looked like one, but I couldn't properly tell.
Yeah.
Because obviously some of them were meant to be sort of hazy, so you couldn't fully tell.
Yeah, and then there was
And you told me the tricorn wasn't relevant to the film.
Well, we're not 100% sure if it was.
Because we're too
Okay,
busy telling you off.
There is a chance
Yes.
that the tricorn was relevant.
I'm assuming one of them, even though you couldn't probably tell, was maybe Russian for the fact that they were going to do a film based in the Cold War. That was an actual sequel they were going to do, but obviously never went through. So I'm assuming one might have been a Ruski. But we don't know.
Possibly.
We don't know. So, we then see Alan tell the guards to basically purge the facility. So they got what they want, get rid of the facility. And he's like, "Oh, we've got to take you out get you to the helicopter first." Like, okay. And obviously they take Sophia and him away. More guards.
Well, Sophia refuses.
Yeah, but then she sort of agrees and they leave.
Multiple times until she's basically dragged away.
Yeah,
No, she actually has to be physically dragged away.
Yeah,
and she's like kicking and screaming, like, no.
Yeah, because she sees his mom, Callum's mom, and she gets dragged away because we see loads of guards by this point being just killed by the assassins, and even two walk into his dad's room, and his dad just kills two of them before getting overwhelmed and killed by the others.
Oh, and Callum dies. Callum Turner.
What?
Nathan.
Why are you saying Callum then?
Because I read the actor's name first.
Well, that's not yet. He doesn't get killed.
Well, that guy dies.
James has spoiled it for everyone. We'll.
Callum dies. Spoiler alert.
But yeah, obviously after his dad gets killed, he sees his
Nathan. Sorry, his name's Nathan in the film.
His mom pops up in one of the visions. She obviously talks to him about the assassins and whatnot. And obviously we see an assassin. What did I say his name was earlier? Emir or something like that. Begins with an E, I think. He gets into the control room and starts locking all guards out the corridors and whatnot, and he's helping all the other assassins out. And they obviously all then make it into the Animus room where they watch Callum talk to his mom, and then Callum, finally clicks onto the side of good, like when you change sides mid-game because you're losing.
Oh, the Italy approach, yeah.
Yeah, he then sees his father mid-vision before he vanishes as well,
because his father also.
He's dead.
Perished in the fighting, and he recites the assassin code with her from the very beginning of the film.
That's very true.
Yeah,
and then we watch the assassin that was in the control room, which is Amir. I've just noticed the name further down.
Yeah,
he's killed by a load of guys that just dive on him, and as he's getting killed, all the other assassins in that room start arming up with some very familiar weapons, and then the horde of guys come barging in, and it's a very badass fight begins. They start fighting. Then Nathan gets killed because he gets shot first, then just fights it off.
Oh right, yeah, I forgot that he made it to the Animus room.
Yeah, he gets shot in the back, fights it off, then gets killed.
Connor gets all fucking Oliver Queen.
Connor, you mean Callum?
That's what I meant to say. Because James kept saying Connor, he's confusing me.
Yeah, Callum he's obviously got a bow at this point. He's bowing everyone. That's why I love how everyone's got these sort of hand-to-hand weapons. So you got Baptiste's got that massive sort of spear and the claw things. You got obviously Nathan who had the sword, and you got I don't know her name. It never really says her name. Obviously the Asian one. She's got the
foot knife.
Yeah, she's got the feet knife. And there's Callum with a fucking bow and arrow, just bowing everyone to death.
It's the fact that the at Sturgo guards also
the crossbows.
They're not packing handguns or anything.
Crossbows.
They've got crossbows and batons.
I just love how the one runs in with a
all
crossbow.
their bare hands.
That was funny. But yeah, Callum obviously eventually ignores the rest of the fight and leaving the two surviving assassins to fight him off. So here's the helicopter taking off. So he clambers up to the roof, punches up the glass.
Falcon punches the glass.
Falcon punch! And then he stands on top of the sort of facility watching on as the helicopter flies away because he's too late. That was quite a cool shot though when he just runs up and he's just standing there watching. Got a lot of cool shots this movie does. We then cut to a shot that heads over a city and to a tomb of Christopher Columbus, where Alan is handed a box, which we obviously got the apple in, all crusty and whatnot. Then joined by the Excellency, who tells Sophia, though the glory goes to her dad on this occasion, they all know who actually found the apple, and her time will come. Mm-hmm. We then cut to Sophia arriving at a Templar headquarters. Obviously, that's symbolised by the fucking big cross on the top. And inside we see the assassins, getting in by literally just walking through the front door and passing all the metal detectors.
It's kind of like a conference kind of thing where you've got these massive crowds of people all funneling into this building, and it shows how all this literally going through security.
Yeah, they're getting in without any issues,
and be all being allowed in.
And then obviously we see
blending in with the crowd.
You see Sophia talk to her dad, obviously about his speech, because he used some weird words, and she's like, "Yeah, he's not our best of works, but it gets the point across." Before we then see the assassins making a hidden blade by putting knives literally at their mouths.
Oh, didn't like that.
He just pulls a knife straight ahead and just fix up a hidden blade. And he's like, "Here you go, Callum, here's your hidden blade."
Oh, cheers.
Yeah, they're handing each other blades and other concealed weaponry
to fix the blade together, pretty much.
And eventually it comes to the point where Alan asks Sophia, actually remember their names now, you've said it like 27 times. It's like, my speech could use some, going back to Vance said, my speech could use some, it needs like one of your like amazing intros. And she straight up uses the quote the guy uses from the nuclear bomb tests of, now I have become death, destroyer of worlds.
Obviously trying to show that she disapproves of him.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And obviously then she eventually sees Callum.
I guess in a sense linking his actions to that of, as what could be seen as like world-ending catastrophic events. That kind of thing, I guess.
Yeah, something like that.
Because, taking control of everybody's free will can be seen as the equivalent of dropping 2 nuclear bombs on a country.
Talking of taking control, I'm going to take control back. And
there you
go. Callum confronts Sophia and he tells her that he's here to help her. And she essentially just stands by and lets him go past instead of calling for help, because she literally says, I could scream and everyone would just come barging in.
Don't scream. But
she doesn't, and she literally just lets him go past. Pretty much because she wants the power that her father has.
And also she wants to pound him.
Pretty much.
This is another hey you two should kiss moment.
Yeah,
definitely.
And obviously then you obviously see Alan's speech, in which during he reveals the apple to the Templars, and they're all like, ooh. But Callum, he had nat 20s, the stealth roll, and assassinates Alan Riken, taking the apple back. Everyone is either running, screaming, or just not reacting at all. Callum flees in the darkness. Sophia then heads back into the room to find her dad holding an actual apple. As I mentioned earlier, there's a little throwback, and this was the throwback. She tells the elder that the Templars can have the apple, but she wants lunch for herself. She's obviously then escorted outside by the Brute as the police arrive. She looks up, causing the camera to fly over the city and pan over a building where these 3 remaining assassins stand over the city. Callan then watches the eagle fly by while holding the apple before posing for the leap of faith. And with a cut to black, we hear the eagle singing the leap of faith before the tunes start to play.
Hey.
Yeah, again, the whole how she says sing along the lines of the death of a parent, something no child should have to witness. She said what I can't even remember now if she did actually witness the death of her mother, as she said, to an assassin, but she very much did see the death of her father to one.
Well, she never actually saw it. She wasn't in the room.
But obviously she comes
it's like him. He didn't see his mum get killed. He saw the dead body.
Yeah, basically.
The aftermath.
The exact same way, she didn't see her father get killed. She
saw the aftermath.
Yes. There we go. In a very roundabout way, I made my point.
With help from me.
Yeah. So
it's never straight to the point with me. You've always got to. It's like you're driving on British roads. You've got to take about 7 unnecessary bends, 5 roundabouts. And eventually you get stuck in traffic.
So,
all just for Mackie.
Overall time?
Yeah.
Yes.
So, overall for me, this movie is kind of misunderstood. Don't get me wrong, it's no masterpiece like Hayden said, that Super Mario Bros. Movie.
Oh, yeah.
I do think it's a decent and enjoyable movie, after obviously watching it this time around with you guys. Obviously, this is the second time we've watched it together, I believe.
And I didn't wear a tricorn that time.
Wait. I'm surprised you didn't watch it. I'm surprised you didn't wear it during, but
I didn't think about a missed opportunity.
I think the acting in this is great, especially Michael Fassbender. I don't think there's anything wrong with the acting in this. It's
crazy.
Exactly. That scene just sums up Michael Fassbender. He's got some very cool cinematic moments.
Definitely.
The fight sequences, obviously, I spoke many times about here, is the standout of this movie easily. The score has a nice beat to it as well.
Mm-hmm.
And every scene in the Animus is just breathtaking.
Definitely.
Obviously,
you're breathtaking.
The Animus in this film is
the
design of it is probably easily the best. My earphones are in. It's probably the best sort of Animus design there is. Probably my favourite, hands down. And yeah, it's just a great looking Animus. Obviously, there's some like tweaks you can make here and there. Show more Aguilar maybe, but I think the 2 hour slot they want to spend more time building up Callum. So obviously then the sequels could maybe focus more on the assassins and not much on him.
Mm-hmm.
So, but obviously we'll never know because, you know, they killed the sequel. And not because of the bad reviews at all, I will say that, or the not so great box office. It was because Disney bought Fox. And I forgot Fox had Assassin's Creed. And that's what's killed the sequel. But, you know, we've got the Assassin's Creed Netflix series coming up, so fingers crossed. That's great. We'll have a little chat about that shortly. So, my rating for this is a solid 7. I was going to, you know, maybe go with a 6, but after this viewing, it cemented the 7 for me. And the memories of going to see the movie with the certain Tricor incident with me and you running away from him, Hayden. That was just... For the few days I was having was not the greatest. To have that happen, no, obviously, in James' eyes, we ran away from him. It was still made me happy and you cheered me the hell up. So, I'm going to say it again, 7 out of 10.
Nice, okay. I think my overall it's pretty much just going to be similar. I did love the cinematography was great. The choreography for the fight scenes were amazing. The music was pretty well chosen. If a little bit repetitive, but still done quite well. And like, if they didn't do the eagle sound, they would have lost like 12 points. But like, you know, at least they did that. The acting was pretty good, like you said, mostly because of Michael Fassbender.
Yeah,
I still love that scene, the singing. The writing wasn't the best, I'll be honest. It was quite heavy on like the action. There was no real proper flashed out story, to be honest. And the pacing wasn't the best either. But it was still quite entertaining to watch. And it is better at the time, it was better than any other video game film that existed. Until Pokemon and Sonic came in and went like, yeah, we're taking your thunder. But it's still pretty good to watch. And as I always say, it was no Dora the Explorer, but it was a good film. So I would give it an 8, but like, unlike opposite to you, I'm going to give it a 7 because we watch it with James, and he always has a hindrance to all the film we watch. So yeah, give it a 7.
I was going to take my blade and just stab myself in the neck for the amount of Dora references you keep making. Go on, James.
I'm excited.
It's one cut for every Dora reference made.
Go on, James. Your turn.
I very much agree with basically everything that both of you just said. With what Hayden just said of it was the best video game movie at its time, I wholeheartedly agree with. Before Pikachu and Sonic, because as I noted, like I get very similar vibes from this movie as Detective Pikachu. Like, there's nothing that I can find that I can critique too harshly. Outside of what Hayden just said, that I wholeheartedly agree with. It's heavy on action. Its story's a bit pants. But yeah, it's no masterpiece. It's no Dora the Explorer. It's no Super Mario Bros. It's no Scooby Doo 2.
I feel like he's doing these references to say they're all bad movies. I feel like he's trying to say "fuck you, Hayden" here.
No, Tom, you can't accept that when people love these films.
Trust me, I am excited for Dora the Explorer. It's not bad by any stretch of the imagination. It's not perfect by any stretch either. So yeah, my overall is a 7.7 out of 10, rounded down to 7.
So I'm going to stab myself in the neck currently for the Dora references.
Oh god,
That's I don't know if you could hear the stuff falling over. It's because I knocked everything over on my little display and started stabbing myself in the neck.
Look, Dora Explorer is a masterpiece. Okay, you can't critique that at all. No, you can't.
Yes, I can. You'll see me next week critique it.
No, it'd be non-canon.
So that gives it a Check the Cave overall rating of 7 because 7 all round. It's lucky we didn't all say 6.
7.
Well, that would have been creepy as fuck.
No, that's for next Halloween.
My question of the day is, as I sent it to both of you, so either one can do some answering here. Do you think if they spent more time showing Aguilar than Callum, that would have made this film more loved by fans and critics, or is it just that 2 hours is way too short to flush out both sides of this story and give enough to please everyone?
Personally, I think there was no real right way to do it, really, other than doing a series probably better. Like they said, 2 hours probably wasn't the longest they could. They could have done it longer, but I think too long it probably wouldn't have been worked as a film. So I think as a series, as a TV series, it probably would have been a lot better. But as a film, I don't think there's much they could have done other than do a completely different story.
Yeah, it would have been good as an Arrow kind of deal.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I see that. Like the Arrow series, the whole point is you got the past and the future flashbacks. That would work pretty well. So I think as a TV, it would have been better.
Okay, so basically, it's just in the sense that you got no chance really.
As a film,
they can only do so much with the film, whereas TV you can span it out across multiple series, multiple episodes.
I agree with Hayden. One film, 2 hours. Yes, they could have made it longer, but it's just not enough to flush out 2 entire characters. If they got the movie franchise, the multiple sequels that they wanted,
I'd say it would have been like a whole maybe story.
Yeah, then they would have had that time to be able to really flush things out. But yeah, with the confines they were given, outside of, I feel like some of the some set pieces are just drawn out for too long. Things like the action. There's only so long you can watch Aguario run down a tunnel. When this assassin ghosts are showing up, when he breaks the animus, I honestly feel like the director just told Michael Fassbender to watch the paint on the wall dry for the timing on that scene. It's a lot of staring, jeez. I feel like if they cut down for the case of just the one film, they could have cut down on some of the panning shots. Again, I feel like they went on for a bit too long. The action or the staring at paint to fit in more of that character development. But yeah, as you said, there's only so much they could have done without getting the sequels that they wanted.
Okay, that's very interesting from both of you for a change.
Thank you.
Obviously, we'll have a quick note on TV-wise. We won't talk too much into it, but we'll have a quick note. Well, we could always do another video at some point where we actually go into more depth talking about what we could do.
Of non-film subjects.
We could. I'd be up for that. You two up for that?
Heresy!
Same.
Burn the witch!
You two up for that? I'll be up for it.
Totally.
So,
I mean, if it's good.
Just any chance you get to break me out of the ice.
okay.
Please.
Okay, so we'll cut this very short. Okay, the Netflix series, we're going to do it. Great. We'll do the rest. What I was going to say was, where would you like to see like the story sort of go in the series, like timeline wise? But I kind of want to save that for the end of a video, so we'll do that then.
Mm.
And obviously, we can talk about the game instead, because obviously, coming up in like the next few weeks, there's literally Valhalla,
Oh yeah, Valhalla.
which obviously I've got the nice little T-shirt on, which is
Hey.
glow in the dark, I might add. And
Hey.
on the
Oh,
back
my-
if I
My brother's very excited for that. He was
If I stand
concerned
up,
that
there's
Valhalla
nice
and
little
Cyberpunk were coming out the same week,
logo
but
on
now
the
that Cyberpunk's been delayed.
Ha.
Again.
my issue with that is
released.
my issue with the fact I was like, oh, that's a good thing then, because then obviously I could maybe play Assassin's Creed, but I'm like, shit, the Miles Morales Spider-Man game's out at the same time. I've got no chance. But I'm considering maybe playing them both. I don't know yet. I want to play Valhalla because it does look good.
Yeah. I mean, it's Norse mythology.
And the
It's
fact
like
that-
our thing.
Exactly. That's why I love God of War, the new one, because it's Norse.
Mm.
Obviously, that's always going to beat this Valhalla game, hands down. And on top of that, they're doing the Ragnarok game that's coming out as well. It's definitely going to beat this Assassin's Creed Valhalla, because it's fucking Kratos just fighting Thor. What is not to love about that? But yeah, I'm very much looking forward to seeing how this story flushes out. I know I've spoken to Connor about it, and he said there's some like quests that are just a bit really stupid. Apparently, it's like a quest is like, when he has to give some woman some cheese to fart or something like that. Apparently that is a quest. Apparently, the main character has to go off and get some cheese so he can go and give it to this woman so she can fart. That is apparently an actual quest.
That is
I love
somebody's niche.
Apparently,
I
literally,
love that.
Connor told me that. I was like, "What the fuck are you on about?
Oh,
How is that a
Hitting
quest?"
it off to that.
I was
Yeah,
like,
James.
"Fucking hell!"
How did you know?
Yeah, I know. There's a lot. If they do it right, it'll be great. And there's a lot that could be in this game. I'm hoping's in this game, but fingers crossed. It all comes out right.
I mean, I loved Odyssey, so
I
I'm gonna
still have
love
not played Black Flag from when I bought it a few
How-
years ago in the Steam Summer
Black
sale.
Flag is like
Jesus
the
Christ.
best Assassin's Creed game there is.
yeah.
It's Constantine, goddammit.
Why Tom loves it.
Exactly. I love
Tom's a
Constantine.
major crush on that actor.
He's like a little thumbs up then. Matt Ryan, man. Great as Constantine, great as Edward Kenway. I only saw him a
Great,
bit as that American guy in the Criminal Minds spin-off series. I only saw a bit of him in that. But yeah,
And great.
Black Flag's baseball.
Uh,
The only the last kind of like note for me that I've had on my other screen this entire time is that the timing doesn't quite match up, because the Granadan War went on from 1482 to 1491. It officially ended January 2nd, 1492. So if the film was set, from what I remember, in 1492, then
Before James goes into too much detail, we're going to cut it.
Okay.
We'll cut it.
historically accurate.
Okay.
I mean,
That's
yeah, but
fine.
if it doesn't go Odyssey, your father's Pythagoras.
Yeah, we're cutting. We're cutting it before you get too much crazier, James. So, if I'm going to be overheard over the constant barking that's doing my head in currently, that is it for Chat Cave Podcast for this week. James, you're sticking around, so join the three of us and Alex next week as I hand over the reins for the show to Hayden. I'm going to regret
God.
this, so we can discuss
Lord have mercy
the
on
movie
assholes.
she hasn't shut up about for the past month, Dora and the Lost City of Gold. But until then, I've been your host, Dranking Thomas Shoes,
Oh, the best fucking film Michael Bay's ever done.
and this has been Chat Cave Podcast. I know I didn't quote the end joke, so I'm just going to quote this movie and say, we work in the dark to serve the light. We are assassins, assassinos, whatever. I forgot to put the joke in.
God,
can't
you're
do it.
boring.
I
You're
looked at-
fucking boring. dumb
I
cunt.
looked at my...
Come on, Thomas.
I put
You're
a,
not me. Stop going around the roundabouts.
I put a bracket at the end to say put end joke in, and I forgot to get rid of that bracket, so it just says end joke.
Is that
So
joke? End joke.
end
joke.
joke.
Yeah, it's done.
The end.
I've got a joke for
Yeah.
us.
What?
James,